Hi there, welcome to Island Girl Creative online tutorials. I'm going to show you how to paint this Love Llama Life painting, and if you have any questions, I'm going to have you put them down below in the comments and then I will get back to you that way. I was going to do live feed, but my internet won't allow for it. So enjoy these videos, hopefully they're helpful. Pause as you need, and here we go. So this is what the end result will look like. And this is what we're starting with. If you have purchased a kit from me, you will receive a 16 by 20 canvas with the outline of the llama and the words drawn out for you. And then also the paints that you need to complete the project and the brushes. You will not, however, get a Sharpie or a paint pen, which is kind of helpful when you're doing words that you don't want to have to freehand later. So I'm using a Sharpie just to show you that it does indeed work. And we're just going to outline the lines that I have already put on with that Sharpie. And the other great thing about a Sharpie is there's no dry time. It's immediately dry, so we go right to painting the background once we are done. It's a beautiful day out today. Sun is shining, and I was pulling some weeds a little bit earlier. What's great about this is that you can paint this when you feel like it, instead of on a schedule that I have created. Just do it when you have a little bit of time to yourself, some peace. Let's see, I guess I can outline the llama too. Yeah, let's do that. We are going to paint around the llama, so maybe I'll just outline like the important stuff, such as the eyes and the nose. The rest of it, we're going to paint around it anyway, so it won't matter so much. Okay. So our first tool that we're going to use is going to be a sponge brush. I've already painted half of one and the video messed up, so I'm going to just start over, but that's why my sponge brush has some color on it. I'm going to suggest that you start with just plain old white paint to get started. And what I did was I just applied some of that paint around the canvas, just kind of randomly. There's some blue coming out from when I used it earlier, but just randomly put some white paint around. Make sure you get a nice good coverage of white, even though this is blue, white paint, just slap it on there. I'm going to need some more white paint. Once you've got a really good amount of white paint just kind of smeared all around, then we're going to go ahead and go into the ultramarine blue, and we're going to grab a little bit on the top of our paintbrush and knock off the big chunks. We just want a little bit. And what you want to do is want to blend it on the canvas with that white that you would just put on there. And just some fun swirls and maybe a little bit of blue up close to this llama. We're just making a really fun springy background. I'm going to need some more white. Luckily I'm stocked up on paint, so I'll have enough to do another llama. I'll show you my other one in a minute because I'm going to use it as a example. But again, we're putting the background on. This one, we're not going over the llama, but right up to him. So right up to his neck. And we are going over all the words. Pick up that blue, put some down here, put some over here, put some down here. We're really just, like I said, making some interesting background color. So just keep going back and forth, picking up some white, picking up some blue. fun color in the background. Because we're loving life today, right? Spring is coming. All the flowers are starting to pop out of the ground. And the weeds are definitely fierce. My blackberries have been unchecked for like almost 4 years because I started this business 4 years ago and haven't really had any time to garden and do anything around the yard. And this little break that we've had, the stay-at-home time, has given me the time I need to do some gardening. All right, so again, this is all up to you, how much you want, where you want to put some white, what kind of interesting things that you see, clouds maybe. Color next to our llama. And it's okay, it doesn't matter how much paint you use because it will be dry by the time we are done with all the other things, and you'll have your space for your flowers, so don't worry. Especially if you have a window open. I always talk about that too. Just leave a window open, enjoy some fresh air, or do it outside. It's a little windy, but I would go outside if it wasn't so windy, but it would knock my damn canvas over. I've done it before. The other thing I want to remind you is to go around the edges that correspond. So I don't have to do over here where there's the llama's color is going to be, but go around the other side. And you'll be really surprised to find out that there is a ton of color inside of this sponge brush. It does not like to let it go. And that's another reason why I hardly reuse them, because they are so painful to wash. You might have time to do that now, but when I have a class of 30 people, the last thing I'm going to do is clean these darn things out. But, oh, I forgot, we'll do the bottom too while we're at it. Nice and finished. Awesome. All right, so we've got a fun background. Now if you start to lose your letters at all, just take your finger and swirl it around on top. They'll come right back. They're still there. They're right under that paint. Right underneath there. Okay, I like it. Now if you want, the next part, there's two ways to do it. One is with your round paintbrush that is all gunked up with paint, because again, I just got done painting another one. So this round brush, you can use that, or you can use your sponge brush for this. Just squish out as much of that blue paint. Like again, you don't have to wash it. You can if you want to, but it is a sponge. It will suck up that water and take a really long time to empty. So if you just kind of squish it out like that, you can grab another color, and the other color, as long as you're just doing nice and light and don't push hard, will come out. And then when you start to run out of that color, grab some more, because you don't want the other color to come out from underneath of it. And just make sure to keep an eye on it. The gray is pretty solid, so it'll definitely cover up any of that blue. But again, just pay attention to the colors that are coming out of the brush. Now I'm going to just get this paint on there really quick. I'm going to try to move quickly. You're going to pause in between and take your time to really get this paint on there and to get those lines nice and solid. Now if you notice, I'm taking my time to get up to the neck because we don't want to lose his face in the midst of all this. So once you use your sponge brush to put that beautiful neck on, then you can go to that round brush and paint in a little bit closer take care not to lose his chin because we are going to need it later. I don't want to lose the shape of his face. All right, that looks good, right? Look at that. Okay, so now his neck is drying. Now we're going to go up and we're going to work on his head. I suggest starting with the ears first and working your way down. A nice solid gray. This is the undercoloring. Well, let me remind you what the end result looks like. It's okay. My doggies. So here's the end result, and you see how do you see the gray behind there? So that's why it's so important to get a good base on there, because we want to see that gray underneath this paint that we're going to be painting on top of it. Let's see here. Up to the top. Pull another ear in there. Now I know there's a difference, but I don't know myself. The difference between alpacas and llamas. I don't know if it's physical that you can see it so much. Like, are we painting a llama or are we painting an alpaca? I don't know. I don't know if it's just in their hair or where they're from. I know that some people have told me that alpacas are smaller than llamas. I know that. I always thought they were interesting animals. Alright, and again, you don't have to paint it as fast as me. I want you to enjoy the process and just go ahead and do it in your own time, at your own pace. And if you have questions, you can put them below in the comments, and then I will try to answer you. If not, you can go to my Facebook page and message me there too. Either Island Girl Creative Studio, which is all about the workshops, or Island Girl Paint Party, which is where my paint parties are usually listed with the events that are going on normally, when we're not all home quarantined. Alright, so we've got his face. Looking pretty good, sucker. Look at ya. Alright, so now we're going to let his face dry. His neck should already be dry. Oh, I forgot to do this side. So if you want to do the wraparound color on the sides, this is a good time to do it with while you still have that gray on the brush. It won't affect the next step though. So I'm just going to do it because I really like the way it looks and I don't want to forget. Almost there. Beautiful. All right. Okay. So the next step is we're gonna. Shh, Chico. No, no, it's just me. We're gonna clean off our brush, same round brush, and we are gonna use water. Get it nice and clean. As soon as you are using any color whatsoever, it dyes the brush, so you might have a brown one, you might have a white one, but either way, it's okay. And this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to put his fur, his hair, whatever makes him fluffy, we're putting that on him. This procedure is a lot of the same repetitive motion, and we're literally just pulling it and a little bit over the edge too. So we want to make sure that we go over into that blue area because he's hairy. It hangs. And only up to the side of his neck. We don't want to go on his chin yet because his chin is going to have a different texture to it. So this one we're just going to pull lots of fun, fluffy fur hair on him. And don't forget, you don't have to go this fast. You can always pause it, till you get to the next step or till you're done with whatever part you're on. And you can also always come back and adjust things if you've decided to do something a little bit different too. He's such a happy llama. Look at him, he's smiling. He said summer's coming. We're gonna all be outside on the beaches, barbecue. Can't wait. Oh, another thing, you can leave a little bit of that gray kind of sticking out from behind of it. So sometimes you'll see that while I'm painting, there's a little bit of negative space between, and it just kind of lets you see the darkness behind, and it gives each of those just a little bit more of an individual fluff to it. So you can see each brush stroke. And I like the texture too, so if there's any texture on yours, fabulous. Takes a little longer to dry, but it's absolutely adorable. All right, so if you notice, I'm slowing down as I get closer to his neck. The reason is because there's a little shadow underneath his chin because his face comes out, it's 3D, and there leaves a little shadow under his chin. So we're just going to go a little bit smoother with the paint around his chin and a little bit smaller with our pulls. So it just kind of gives the illusion of that shadowing. A little lighter, let some more of that gray kind of show through. And don't forget to go and kind of make it round. Okay, so now you see how his head is just sticking out. Now we've just got his face and everything else is covered with nice, beautiful, fuzzy fur. He looks really cute. I really like this guy. All right, so now we're gonna move up to the top and we're gonna do his head. And oh, you know what, actually, no. I was gonna say we'll do his eyes first, but then that gets us into a different color. Let's just go make his ears fuzzy. We're gonna go up to his ears. So we're gonna leave a tiny sliver of the gray on the inside of his ears. So we're gonna just kind of make a little, kind of like a bunny ear. You know, I have the pink on the inside. We're gonna leave a little bit of the gray on the inside. So just kind of make a little shape like that. And then do the same thing that you were just doing, but now the fur is going up. So instead of down strokes, we're gonna do up strokes. Because his fur is sticking up and away from his head on his ears. Nice and fluffy. Same thing on his head. We're gonna make his head have kind of have a fluffy look to it down his forehead. And we just want to, we're gonna contour his face a little bit, and I'll show you that after we get his ears all put into place. Trying to close in. So there's going to be some parts that are smooth, which is going to be down his forehead. So from the corner of his nose up on each side. That's going to give his snout, making it look like it's coming forward. And then from his eye area cheek around his chin. They have shorter, more minky kind of hair that is a little more smooth. If you've ever seen them up close. Which, if you don't have a good experience with them, you can go to, there's this place called the Kangaroo Farm, right outside of Arlington, Darrington area, and you can actually pet one or feed one, and they will let you put a little piece of food in your mouth, like between your lips, like a cigarette, and this llama will come and eat it out of your lips, and you get a little llama kiss. It's very fun. But, so what I want to show you is that we're just making his kind of like side face, because this is further away than his nose. His nose is going to be closer to us. It's supposed to be 3D off the canvas. So we just do that nice and light, and then we'll make it nice and thick on the bridge of his nose right here. I hope you can see okay with that camera. The sun is starting to come in here and it's getting bright. Take it right up to the top of his forehead, and then we'll make it fuzzy again over his eyes. So his little eyebrows, we're going to make them all nice and fuzzy up over his head, and continue up over those ears again, just to make it kind of go together and match up. This one's a smaller, like more of like a pouncing, because it's just kind of fuzzy, 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 not as much like long strokes of paint like we were doing down here to make him look hairy. So again, we're just gonna make his forehead fuzzy, and then back over his eyes, and that hairy, fuzzy looking. Oh, he's so cute. All right, looking good. Now feel free to make them as fuzzy as you like. Like if you need a little more fuzz, like I'm feeling like, just feeling like we need a little more fuzzy up here. Go ahead and add that. Or if you have enough, call it good. Say, I'm done, I've got this, thank you. Okay, so if you notice, I did not color in his nose area because I wanted to wait to make sure we didn't lose it. You can lose the parts because they get covered with paint and then all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. So now we're going to go back in and we're going to use, we have a flat brush that we're going to use, and we're going to use that to paint the gray on his nose. And I just want you to do a very, very light coating. Very, very light. So not just what we were just doing, that was way heavier. This one is way lighter. My brush is a little crusty. Add a tiny bit of water to it. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you should be able to still see your Sharpie through this paint. If not, you can add a little bit of water to it just to loosen that up. Don't lose his cute little smile. There we go. Cute, cute, cute. So fun on a summer day. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to paint in his eyes black. The best way that I have found to do this is to use our round brush, load it up with the black paint. You actually go in a circle. So go in a circle first and get that area just covered up as best as you can. Try not to let it get too big. And then he does have a little bit of like a, I don't know how to say it, like the tear duct area. I'm just going to pull it in just a little bit. Just elongates that eye a tiny bit. This eye's not big enough now. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to leave it alone, let it dry before we move on to putting eyelashes on there, because I know you know there's eyelashes. So this was the other one that I had previously done before the video had screwed up. So I'd gotten that far. I did do my Love Life, but then decided I didn't want to do that first. I want to leave that till we're kind of worked our way through this. But anyway, long story short, the video got messed up, and so we're doing it again. Okay, so we're going to let this whole thing dry, and now we are going to move on to the lettering. The lettering is we're just gonna use black paint and the small little detail brush. There's gonna be a little tiny detail brush included. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna work from our top down so that we're not smearing it with our hands. And we're just going to load the brush up with a lot of paint. Lots of paint, so it's very, very, very full. Not thick, just full. And then we're just going to start. I always use my pinky to kind of hold my hand up, I guess you'd say. And I want you to follow along with the lines as best as you can. And it's really great if you only have to go over it once. So don't let the paint run out too much. Just take and do one swoop and then see how the paint's running out. That means I have to go over it again. And that just causes, there's room for so much to go wrong. I think my black paint is dried up a little bit since, yeah, it did dry. Yikes. Okay, so yours won't be, yours will have a lid. It won't have been sitting there for a few hours between paintings. But we want it to be smooth and easy. You do have the choice to use your Sharpie if you'd like. So don't feel like you have to paint it if this makes you nervous. And I can show you the difference. So there's me pulling on it with some paint and struggling a little bit. And here's the Sharpie, which I can just pull really easily. So you see the difference? This is going to look sharper and cleaner, be easier to do. This is going to have more of that shininess to it that looks like the paint that you're painting on the canvas. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. Because it's so easy and fast, I think I'm just going to stick with the Sharpie just to get it done. Also, if you lay this down flat on a table, you're going to have an easier time with it than you would on an easel, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay. Very quick, very easy. And you can thicken up some of your lines if you want to, because some of the paint, when I paint it, the lines are a little bit thicker. Ooh, the paint's wet. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just painting my marker. When that's dry, I can go back over it and go ahead and get that smoothed out. All right, so now that the llama has kind of had its time to dry, it's ready to put the flowers on. And this is the fun part. This is where it's kind of just nice and sunshiny and sunflowery. And are you talking to the birdies outside, Turbo? Okay, so I recommend using your round brush again. And we're going to go ahead and get into that burnt sienna. That's going to be the centers. Oh, it's dried up again. Jeez. Doesn't take long in this warmer weather for the paints to dry. So you're just going to pick a few places for our sunflowers to be. So I have on my original, I have one off to the side, which kind of looks complementary over the letters. One next to the face and a few down below here. So I'm going to mimic that. I mean, I like how it looks. Looks pretty good to me. And so basically what you want to do is you just want to put a circle of that burnt sienna. So start with this circle. And that's where my sunflower is going to start. It's going to be built off of that. So we'll have another one down here. Kind of nice and thick. And then we'll have one right about here. I think that'll look nice. And maybe one down here. And then the one next to his face over here. His or her face, I'm not sure. Yeah, those will be my sunflower centers. So to make them a little bit darker, you are going to go into that black paint with the dirty brush. You don't have to clean off that sienna, that burnt sienna. Just kind of go off to the side of the cup with the black and pick up a little of that dark color and then pounce it around inside. And that's going to give it some texture because sunflower centers are very textury. They have bumps and interesting things. And if it gets too dark, pick up some more of that sienna. Just go back and forth until you get a good balance. All right. And then one more up top. Nice. It did get a little dark. Like I said, pick up that burnt sienna and then you can pounce it on top of that too. Give it a little dimension. Beautiful. Alright, next up we're going to put the sunflower petals on. And do your best to clean out the brush from all that dark color. And then we're going to grab a hold of that sunflower yellow. It's not really called that, it's called deep yellow, but today it is sunflower yellow. And we're going to load up our brush with that. And we're going to put these beautiful petals on. Now there's several different ways to do it. There's the teardrop method where you can kind of build really big petals, or there's the starburst method, which just basically looks like a big starburst. This one is the starburst method where I just simply pushed the brush here and pulled it away and then swooped it out. So if you notice, it blends right in because it's exactly the same. Just pulling it away from the center. So I'm going to do that up here. We'll start up at the top. Push down your brush and then pull it away. Push down and pull it away. And it makes this beautiful starburst. I really love this method. But then, of course, at my last class, there was a girl